Indeed. So we have in our left card A3r1us participating for the first time in their first match. You know, honestly, it's just always nice to see a new player. We always welcome it, we always encourage it, and it's good to see.
We have a good number of them this time.
Mm-hmm. On our right card is Desdar, who joined MT16 and went 1-2, which, you know, going by math is still not a bad place to be. Something like most of them. We didn't actually do the math on how many people have to go 1-2 or worse. So I'm just gonna say that, you know what, it's a good to get a win in as a new player. So good on Desdar. They're facing each other in this EU-friendly time for, I assume this is just a time to work for them, so I ain't complaining. Alright, and looks like the game has been got. Should definitely make for an interesting first race for A3r1us and first return for Desdar, if what I'm looking at is correct, which it should be. Well, I must admit, for such a late night race, looking in the race chat, we've got quite a few people jumping in to get a shot in. I guess perhaps stealing all those people due to that EU-friendly time. Looking to get some practice in as the tournament kicks off. Which, you know, having others in the race, it's fun. It's always interesting, especially as a new player. I know I can say having two monitors, having people who, aside from just my opponent in the race chat,
Yeah,
that's always a fun source of
confusion, panic. Yeah,
yeah. It's like, was that dot done them? Oh, no? Okay, well now I just know that someone else is finished.
I mean, I panic just seeing anything. Like, if there's any new line in IRC, I go, oh crap.
Yeah, that I know that feeling. Just like, what's that? Someone said .log? That's it, game over, I lost. That was their .done and it's over forever. A smart person would close IRC, but I am not a smart person. Or at least mute it.
I mean, I also don't want to race when it's over. The game sucks. I'm done.
That's also true.
Get me out of here.
But to be fair, this game doesn't suck. At least from what I've heard. I've seen bits of this game before. I never played it myself, but it's a familiar name.
It says this was raced in like... Oh, there we go. Trying to find the game.
You know, actually, it does make sense if this was raced before, because thinking on it, this is kind of a perfect MT game. I'm actually surprised I've not seen it in MT before.
Yeah, apparently.
The game doesn't suck, but from what I know of it, it will be far from disappointing. I bet dollars to donuts. There are several people in chat who've also heard of this game. This game does indeed own Andy. In hindsight, I have played a game. I have raced a game in NT that is technically the same concept, so I can't call this unique. Or was that in Reject Tony? No, it might have been in Reject Tony. Oh, don't worry, Matt. You'll be finding out soon enough. I can only hint at it for so long until Maurice hits the button, and then it's like, oh, dang, there it is. I have to reveal it to you all.
Yeah, I gotta wait for the players to speak.
Yeah.
You know, as a restreamer, I'm the one who points it out to people, but you'd be surprised how often people forget to go live or actually have the game on stream where it's like really so tiny you can't see anything. Pretty funny.
Yeah. So, some days you just forget to change the setting.
Yeah.
The one nice thing about such new races here, one only having a few matches in the last tourney and one being brand new, is that we don't know what we could be seeing from them.
Yeah, 1-2 is not bad, but also not great. A3r1us is a total blank sheet. It's kind of the proven okay player versus the unknown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could just as easily see either of them come out and like pull up one of those crushing Tester's time moments. Not that I know what the Tester's time is, but I'm sure you can inform me if should it arise.
I don't think they have access to the tester sheet.
Huh.
Doesn't seem to be it.
The mystery player of the mystery game.
I know why ID is always panicking about the game list, how many games we have, because there's like a column here that says matches left 268, remaining not as many. So that's why he's always panicking.
You know, I didn't expect to hear a remix of the Crash Bandicoot Hog level theme.
That's what I was
But
thinking.
I'm not upset about it. It kinda slaps. Spin doesn't tell you anything, Andy. Well, you know, I knowing what I do about this game, I feel like that might just ruin the surprise. After all, there are some games where it's important to have a very full pace spin and make sure the players are well aware of what they need. But there's just as many games that don't need one and benefit from, relying on the player's experimentation.
And finally, I see a game on both screens. PlayStation games, you never know like how big the game is gonna be in relation to the window size, because BizHawk is like too good at emulating that. Something like this, I guess. Alright. Game is The Adventure of Little Ralph.
And it is.
Seems to be a Japanese-only PlayStation platform.
Indeed. I know of this game as Did You Know Gaming's Region Locked did a video on it. Huh. Pointing out that it is a game that the West never got. I believe probably because it's not 3D, and it was in that era of Sony. But it's a little unknown gem, and we're going to be seeing our players race it here today. Arius versus Desdar.
No menu music.
That's always unsettling.
Yeah, gotta sit.
To be fair, for a PlayStation game, menu music probably took up a decent whack of space.
Here's the thing, if you wait on the menu, you get this little tutorial. And I don't think Desdar went through it even once.
But we always allow track modes, even if you can't read what they're telling you.
Oh,
and they're off!
Demo.
Look at him go! Little Ralph here. He's in danger! And he's got a big sword.
Oh jeez.
Hey.
Murdering animals.
Well, duh. He's gotta. It's a platformer. Of course you murder everything in sight. Yeah, Arius, the early league, just having that instinct to just keep moving. Don't stop.
That's
it's a good instinct. Yeah. But yeah, it starts out, and this is just a very straightforward, quite solid PS1 platformer. A wonderful, like, what would be the term?
Hack and slash?
No, it's as like a baseline test game for MT. It's just like a hack and slash platformer. But I forget what that term is for, like, something that's bread and butter MT game. That's what I'm looking for.
As long as it's not SNES.
That is true, and this game is not SNES because the camera's nice and zoomed out.
Yeah.
You have a great view of what you're jumping to. And you know what? Music's kind of a banger. Yeah. I'm digging it. Yeah, Arius having a bit of trouble with some falls. I don't know what the game over state is for this game. Maybe finding out soon enough.
Well, Arius fell into... Oh, there we go. This should be it, right?
Yep.
Continue?
And continue means...
It means a lot of loading. Oh, it's just a checkpoint.
It's just a checkpoint. Very low punishment. Another thing we love to see in RMT entries. At least to some degree. There is room for a punishing game over, but not in this early round. Apparently I am a tad loud.
I mean, that's good.
That is good, but Just going by what people are saying. We got Ralph jumping on Classic Float into the Waterworks Bureau. Oh goodness. Gonna check on the city's piping infrastructure with the spear traps. Of course. Have you ever gone to the DMV and had to climb a rope, dodging giant metal bloody blocks? Oh my god, there is blood on those things. Oh, the problem is it's currently 8 PM and I have no reason to be quiet volume. That's understandable. Still, Desdar is catching up, making good progress also in the Bureau.
That's interesting. Arius got off the elevator and then it closed again and went up again, so maybe there's like different paths.
Yeah, I do believe there are secret areas and paths in this game. I don't think anything major, but it does have that sort of energy, you know, secret finding platformer energy. Also, I definitely looked away from that death, but was Ralph just impaled on the spikes? That was gruesome. Channeling Lara Croft there, my goodness.
Lara Croft death.
This game is graphic, but also you're fighting robots and like silly cartoon animals and collecting giant hearts. And then it's Rick. Hello. Channeling. Oh my god! Oh my goodness! That was. Oh wow! I don't think any of us were ready for that. Okay, it turns out if you replace Eggman with Rick, that suddenly Sonic doesn't just do a boom and like jump off screen, you get crushed into a bloody pulp. Like it's goddamn Limbo.
And this boss is pretty simple.
Oh yeah, it's the first boss. It's not going to be particularly complicated. Which also Desdar has caught up. But Arius still gets the kill first. And then, haha, the explosion just covered him in soot. We'll ignore all the bloody murder that just happened. Anyone else feel like this game's gonna have a tone issue? Just me? Okay. Oh, and... Oh, the bye, I guess. Oh, you bowl the enemies out the way. Cute. Desdar, yep, finding that smooth pattern on the boss, but losing to a snail. Not that Arius is doing much better. Tone issue only if you lose. Yeah, it's just a skill issue, not a tone issue.
Oh, Arius barely made it to the checkpoint.
Oh, you're always thankful when you see that. Just like, oh, phew, I didn't lose all my progress.
Yeah.
Arius now being chased by kangaroos. And Desdar taking out the boss. Yeah, it was a nice and quick one. clear time, new record!
Oh, hell yeah. Now do it faster.
Now beat it on hard mode to get the true ending.
Oh, did it like transition immediately to the next level? That's cool. Like
yeah,
a Sonic
so
3 kind of thing.
It was, I think it was actually the same going from the first level to the Waterworks Bureau. It seems to be smooth transitions, which is nice.
Cool. Yeah, it's like a lot of effort to program with kind of low payoff, but I really like it. Oh god, Ariel, hurry up!
But when you're on the PlayStation and you sort of have that extra, power, you want to put that effort in, and they did, like the fallen bridge is cool. The enemy sprites are nice and lively. And we have a sewer level!
Yes, we do.
Now you know it's a PlayStation game. Sewer blueberries. And tapeworms, ew.
So, looking at past races of this, Andy4H, or just Andy, I guess, beat stage 3 in 21 minutes, which could be the same as beat Travant, because there's a specifically beat Travant goal here with 19 minutes as the winning time.
That sounds believable. Especially for a repeat game, we do tend to go for the same goal unless there is the explicit reason to do otherwise.
Oh, and you beat 4-2. And who knows how long this goal is. Oh, Desdar, don't mash through the continue.
Ooh, yeah, that could be problematic. Just as much as the forgiving continues, there are some times when you can go, oops, and lose it.
It has like things we would like compensate for, like if the game bugs out or something and crashes, we're gonna give you time to get back to where you were. But I think if you mash through the continue screen 10 times, I don't think we're gonna give you time back.
Yeah. I know that because I have definitely done it before. Thankfully not in my own match, but I did it. Just didn't hit continue. Alright, so moving on to some, oh! That's unfortunate.
Checkpoint right here.
The game very kind with the checkpoints. My goodness. Harry's making the dubious go left at the fourth decision. It's funny you mention that because simple decisions like that, that's often sort of an example we bring up when we're talking about what makes a player practiced at MT.
I mean, in this game where the levels are kind of together, I don't expect to be walking left a lot.
Yeah, and sort of recognizing that it sounds like a minor thing, and to some extent it is. Like, especially in this match, it's coming down a lot more to how fast can these players make progress. But we've seen before at higher levels that it really can come down to as simple a decision as one player went left at a fork where the other knew to go right. Yeah, it did only cost him 10 seconds, but 10 seconds is 10 seconds.
Oh, Ares beating the demon boy. First try.
Indeed, and and that's why sometimes you can afford to make that bad decision, because you YOLO the boss and do a bang up job.
In the desert?
Fight scorpions. Yeah, of course, you go through the sewer system that is connected to the desert.
What? This is Aladdin or what?
Look for the Mickey Mouse underpants. It has got the sword, so we know it's that version.
Oh, and it's got those sandworm things.
Antlions, yep.
Oh, and just some temple. I mean, I feel like we went from a lush green city to this desert pretty quickly.
Okay, I'm just saying, I'm looking at this city, the trees look pretty, like, brought in. This doesn't look like natural foliage. I could believe this is like some, you know how it's like in Dune they've got the palm trees because it's to flaunt all their water in a desert on a desert planet. This city could be like that. We don't know. It's in Japanese.
I feel like I gotta point out that A3r1us is just rushing through this, doing an amazing job.
Yeah, A3r1us really is just sort of rolling with it, and you know, Desdar was catching up him. Oh my goodness!
Oh my god! Yeah, that
oh,
stopped
he's
him.
dead. So utterly gruesome deaths aside, yeah, A3r1us is making good time with just keeping that pace up, which can be so important in these matches. I know, Bright Shadow, I should have learnt my lesson about I keep cursing these players.
I mean, I think
Maurice, you do all the compliments.
I think he just realized that, like, deaths aren't really that punishing. There's checkpoints all over the place. It continues the same as a death. So, you can just kind of keep going.
That
like
is
bubbies
true.
in these pits instead of spikes.
This is an interesting choice.
Oh, who's this guy?
Oh my god, it's Spelunky!
I mean, who cares? Just keep going.
Watch out, he's got an instant kill.
Well,
I know, it's Spelunky too. I don't like the use of the word jiggly there, Peanut. I must be honest with you. Yeah, Desdar, I think it's having some trouble with this platforming section, which is unfortunate. Oh my god! Oh, A3r1us, oh, there was a spurt of blood there.
Feels good to have a downstep in a game like this where you're jumping on platforms with enemies on them.
That is true. There's a reason you had to unlock it in
Ouch! Oh no!
Zelda
Get
2.
out of there!
Desdar getting back
oh my
that
god!
all important.
Oh! What? A3r1us jumped on the rope. The Anubis thing tried to follow him and got spiked by the wall.
I mean, if it works.
Maybe it'll happen again. No, this time he just kills it.
This time not rushing up the rope, taking the sensible decision to wait out the cycles. Why do I have this concerning feeling the ceiling's coming down in this room to crush A3r1us? Okay, no, I don't know why, but there was just a thing in my heart saying, hurry, hurry, it's going to kill you. But no, it's just scorpions, which A3r1us is well adept at taking out.
Oh god, the jiggly mummies are coming.
Oh, and then they're gone.
That was a short adventure for those jiggly mummies. Is fire gonna kill you? No. Okay, good.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was just looking at that enemy turn around, and there was no sprite for it.
I mean, that enemy...
It just shrunk.
It's like a wall painting. Enemies. That's kind of the joke.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense.
Oh, jumping on top of the trap.
Cute game design. Oh my god. And he's gone. Just disintegrated.
Desdar's a really good portion behind at this point. A whole boss, a whole level.
I think a full world behind at this point, actually, going by the level numbers.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Oh,
oh yeah.
We almost got to see the spike death animation. Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh, you can kill the fire. How's this
Only if
supposed
it's
to work?
around an enemy. See how that one's attached to the wall painting, dude?
Okay. Yeah, the wall.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, like... It doesn't make any sense. How is it spinning around the wall painting?
Yeah, that is true. This is a 2D platformer. There is only left and right, no third dimension.
Especially if you're wall painting. Oh, nice jump, very close.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and now Anubis has a chair.
Yeah.
And Arius with the swag strat.
The Ganondorf.
Just bat it back. Nice.
Yeah, this looks like a bus corridor. This looks like a bus.
It's a Pharaoh, I guess.
Blah 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 blah.
Oh, just having a casual conversation
Yeah.
and breathes fire at ya.
Oh, but you picked up the fire set. So, the thing is, yeah, I would not try to die here, because maybe you don't get this sword back. Oh, you do.
No, you do.
Desdar versus Demon Boy. And Incubus.
I appreciate Arius going for the bat back on the eye laser. That is a special kind of energy, and I am all for it.
Arius is content to just stand on the left here.
Yep.
Shoot some fire.
And going for the dodge. Going for the dodge that time, though.
Oh!
Oh, and
I feel
too
like you could have
close.
seen that one coming.
Possibly, but he may have been nervous to blindly jump to the left.
Hey, you can...
Oh! And finding just another bit that can be destroyed. Oh, and there it goes. Phew, that was like an exciting couple of seconds. Anyways, back to the normal boss fight, I guess.
Oh, didn't die this time. Still has an HP. I don't know how the HP works.
I think it's the hearts.
Oh. It is not the hearts.
Okay, Andy says you have 2 HP.
You just have to remember. Oh, wisp.
You have a wisp.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
The really unmissable bright thing.
Yeah.
Oh, could I
Yeah,
miss
I'll
it?
be real. I did not see that at all. My brain just
Wait.
zoned out.
Oh, when you continue,
Not-
you have to have a conversation. But that's kind of what time was. Oh, you
Oh,
can.
and
You
they
can count on the
reflect.
laser.
Yes, Arius, I love it.
Like even just to try that.
Having discovered it earlier, Arius is like, I wonder, and sure enough,
It probably does like heavy damage too. Hey, you gotta destroy the chest.
yep, may as well. I mean, it's there. Just sort of gotta wait for the blocks to come back now.
The pace bin covers the 2 HP, but Andy, we don't read the pace bin. We're
We're not
commentators.
racing. Do you think we read the pace bin? I mean,
Yeah,
really?
Come on. That's like work. This fire attack sucks. This
Maybe if
power
it-
thing has to get a new strat.
Maybe
Oh, there we
going
go.
forward we can have the pace bin in the form of an audiobook. Oh, the 3 reflects!
More tennis. Oh, get out of here. The fire is bad.
Oh, Arius got the timing down. And that's the boss, it looks like.
It explodes. Hell yeah. Oh, we got the thing.
Oh shit, we unlocked the Pharaoh. We got the heart of the cards, the Millennium Puzzle. That's what the word I'm looking for.
Desdar is having a tough time
Where's-
on this Incubus.
Indeed. And now we're in Dinosaur Land with Human-Faced Wasp. Cool, there's my new night. Fish! I love that fish! Oh, it's my favorite.
Oh, we got a friend.
Mm-hmm. Arius had gotten one earlier. Just a little, like, option. That's the one from Gradius.
Oh god, that was blind.
Indeed.
I was like, where's he jumping? I don't know.
So sometimes you just gotta junk. Also, I think Desdar just, like, got the boss stuck in the corner.
Nice.
If it works.
I mean, finding cheese like that is a very important part of mystery as well.
That is true. If you can just find an easy win, take it. Very much the case of the old trope, the enemy gate is down. If you hit the goal, it doesn't matter how. If you hit the goal, you win. There's some kind of cactor in this forest.
Yeah. Oh god.
And the big fish!
That's a big one.
I love its face. It's got googly eyes. I want that as an emote.
Beautiful sprite work on this waterfall.
The first stage of Super Star Wars. No, it's not unfair enough for that.
Oh. He pushed the enemy onto the log on the waterfall and then the enemy fell down.
That little gnome had like the briefest moment of hope. And then nothing but despair.
Oh no!
Well, to be honest, that's probably faster than platforming back up.
Yeah.
Oh, Mario Bros. 2, that's where I've seen these logs from.
Oh yeah. This looks like it.
Run, Ralph, run!
Ah, just a torch. Oh god. I was expecting like a death animation.
I was expecting like a death pit, and then it was just like, no, here's an arrow. And I guess that works, but... Oh, you can pull a king from the... What is it, Wand of Gamelon? Yeah. A Wand of Gamelon remaster where you can pause while climbing a ladder and stick Ralph's butt out. Always appreciated.
But I don't want to make you worried, but this is 4-2 and that's the same goal you had at 33 minutes. Arius is looking pretty good here, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't know. The boss could be one of those ones.
Yeah.
Also, are we gonna acknowledge that, like, horrific slime death animation? Like, these are exceptionally brutal deaths.
The button on the right area is press, I think.
Mm-hmm. And does he notice? Not yet.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh.
It's Big Slime Man, and
Got
he's
bigger when you hit it.
Oh, you've got to do a thing here. And I think Arius just did it. Yep.
Oh, but it's
Oh, it was a secret.
lots of points. Wait, hold on. I have a thing for this. Big points.
Big points. And this
The hell
bounty
is this?
skull.
Jeez.
And the checkpoint.
We're in some weird Mayan temple now, I think.
I think it's just the regular kind. You know, those normal everyday, like, Walmart brand temples.
Gotta time this. It seems to have worked. Yeah. There's like a new enemy on Aria's screen. He's like, I'll just go. Oh, it's a minecart level!
And we're in Donkey Kong!
Hell yeah, I love minecart levels. More games need minecart levels.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na.
Oh, get out!
Oh no!
I mean,
Quick thinking.
It's like that Sonic level. To the left! What? No!
No!
That was the most telegraphed attack in history.
Alright, anyone watching at home, like, bring up the Donkey Kong Country Returns minecart music in another monitor.
It's so good. Donkey Kong Country Returns has such good music.
It's my go-to for, like, minecart level music. I just start playing it every single time.
I also love the rocket music in that game.
Well, it's a remix of it.
Huh.
That's why it's so good. It's all the leitmotifs and stuff.
No, too early!
Oh, too early!
Unless there's gonna be checkpoints in this could be a pretty big holdup.
It could be. This is, in essence, it's either a test of memorization or reflex, depending on how many times it takes you.
I mean, so far the attacks have been very telegraphed, so it's doable to do all of this first try so far.
That is true, though we are both speaking as high-level players. I will just say that now.
I mean, look at this. They even throw 2 grenades to, like, warn you. You always know you have to go on the third.
That one had you if you jump too early.
1, 2, and go. 1, 2. Oh, that was the second one. I was lied to. Yeah, it's getting a little harder.
You would have died.
I mean, I would have acted.
Oh yes, of course you would have. Oh no!
Oh no! Whoa.
Oh, run over by the. Oh
God.
My goodness!
Mangled.
Oh,
the
there's
tracks.
just. That is gruesome.
Injuries incompatible with life.
Remember, kids, don't play on railroad tracks. You don't want to be one of those people who ends up crushed between 2 cars.
Yeah, or like escalators.
I don't play on escalators?
Oh yes? That's good advice.
I didn't... it is, I didn't consider them as deadly.
What? Escalators are the deadliest thing in the mall.
No, sorry, there's like a really bad joke I could make there. I will not, and just say I've not heard of many escalator-related deaths.
Good job dodging these bombs this time. Did go to the top one, but yes, let's see what happens first.
No, the blueberries.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay.
Bright Shadow, I want you to think about the way you phrase that. Oh, and we've got big explosions. You know, it really is Donkey Kong.
Oh, jump over. Hell yeah! That was so unnecessary,
Nice.
but so cool.
Now, if I were a really mean game designer, I would have had it destroy the one in front.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, should have gone to the top.
Nope. I think you have to do it on the bounce there.
Yeah. Or, like,
Oh,
there
but
were
there's
two
a
bounces.
checkpoint.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of thing where there would be a checkpoint. Nice.
Yeah, it is. Once
And
more
up.
with feeling.
Yeah, nice. Like learning
There's
what
down,
the game wants
meanwhile.
from you. Oh, that was ambitious. Oh!
Oh!
Mid-air! Alright, this is a cool section. I don't mind this so much. Like, you can still react to it.
blue plate special, if I remember what that is from that one game with no friction. You know the one.
What?
It's an old shooter. If you hold down spacebar, you literally remove friction from yourself. So it's like skateboarding first-person shooter. I forget what it's called. Tribes, yes. It's made by Hi-Rez, and then they made Smite and stopped supporting it, even though it was better. Yeah. In fact, we're due for a reboot. Hi-Rez, when?
Oh, the game over put areas back to the start of the minecart section.
Ooh, yeah, actually, that is a punishing game over.
So I guess your time is safe.
Also, I thought of a better way to describe it. If you ever played one of those surf courses in TF2 or CSGO, that's Tribes. That's just Tribes.
We should have surf in FunFest. That's a random thought I had the other day.
You know, if I'm being real, there's a viable argument to be made that you could have a surf course as an MTE entry if neither player had played a surf course before. Or better yet, just submit the single player from one of the old Tribes games. I'm sure there is one. That'd be fun. We need more first-person shooters in MT. It was said earlier, but if you know any good blind race FPSs, submit them. Also, I also only ever played Tribes Ascend, so I don't know if there was single player. Yeah, both our players are at, you know, their own challenging sections. One with a tough boss, one with a tough minecart.
Desdar has spent longer on this boss than A3r1us has. So not really doing much catching up, I think.
It is true, Boomer Shooter demos would... Well, actually, we had the Ultra Kill demos submitted, so there you go. Also, Scrappo, I have to admit, I've never played Pitfall.
The one with the mines?
Yeah, that one. I've never played it.
Maybe like some iteration in some other game or something. Do I jump over? Oh yeah, this was the one where you don't have to jump over.
Not yet, but A3r1us knows now. He's ready. He can see the code.
But I think he has to jump over on like this big jump or something. Yeah, jump. Wow, that's tight. Jesus.
Yeah, that is actually not the fairest.
It barely tells you that there's another cart before you have to jump.
See, those ones are better.
Yeah. Right, no cart to jump to, so nothing to do.
Yep.
Nice.
Just there to scare you. Oh, right on the face. Oh, that's why you wear a helmet, kids.
Just like Donkey Kong.
And we have a very long... This is definitely a loading hallway.
This is the longest hallway in history.
This is a loading screen disguised as a hallway.
Yeah.
Now cool. We know how they did the level transitions. Oh, and it's time!
Oh, we're
By
Big
the way,
Ralph.
We are Big Ralph now. There is a lizard man.
Oh, it's Travant.
And...
Oh,
so you remember how this was a platformer?
Wait, what the hell is going on?
No! This is a fighting game now!
I like how it's like yellow and red, you know, the classic Street Fighter colors as well.
So, yeah, a few worlds in, the bosses turn into a fighting game.
What the... Do you jump on up now?
I don't know, maybe. It's entirely possible. I don't know what this, for all I know, This is as technical as Street Fighter. You have a Hadouken. There you go. This is Street Fighter. It's official.
Oh, it even has the Ken Flame animation.
The real question is, does it have rounds?
Oh, it's so close.
Oh, the last inch of health.
The down step. It's not enough.
Oh no! Don't dragon punch there. Just bait it out.
Ah!
Oh!
Hey, You win. I believe that's a done.
That's a done. And yeah, that's why this game is semi-well known as an obscure, like one that wasn't.
That was awesome.
I said well-known obscure. You know what I mean? It has fighting game elements. It's rad, isn't it?
Suddenly we turned into Big Ralph, and then we played Street Fighter. I love it.
It's great. But that is a win for Arius, first trying the Street Fighter boss. Like, let's acknowledge that. You know, it wasn't like a TOD or anything, but it was pretty good. There was a little bit of like Oki in there, getting the set play, fighting game terms, Tatsumaki Senpuken, GG.
I was not expecting that. What the hell?
I was waiting for it because I knew it.
I can't believe the goal you played cut out the Street Fighter boss. Why would they do that?
That is a good question. Absolutely should remain in because it's a perfect thing to have in MT.
Yeah,
like that's a perfect finale for. Because if it's like, oh, you're bad at fighting games, well, gee, that's actually kind of perfect for our style of tournament. Arius, hello,
hello.
Congratulations.
Hello. Thank you. The game was good. It was a good game.
It's one that we never got in the West, but got a bit of notoriety for, well, the obvious. So tell me, were you expecting that final boss fight?
You mean Travant or just...
Yeah, Travant.
I mean, if you mean the boss itself, it was good. Like, I like the fighting one-on-one, but... Thank God it says the name, because I kinda didn't know up until very, like, who was Travant? Who is he?
Luckily it told you.
Because it went full Street Fighter.
Yeah.
You had the Hadouken.
Yeah, like, at the end it says that, like, 1 HP for, like, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna die or what?
That was weird, like, you hit it so many times it feels like they programmed the magic pixel, you know?
I don't know if it's
pretty
a
sure
glitch,
that's
if
exactly
it's
what they
intended.
did.
Yeah, like the little cart part. Like, to continue remove the checkpoints in the middle is like, I'm gonna lose so much time and we're gonna be But I stayed on that stuff for like what, 5 minutes? I think. Because this is
it was definitely your biggest wall in the match. Just a very long section that didn't allow any mistakes, but for the rest of the game, you kept up a very good pace. We were actually talking about it. You kept moving through a lot of it. You didn't let deaths or anything bog you down too much. And you had that mentality to just keep moving forward, which was, you know, a good showing for your first match.
Thank you. If there's one thing I have to say about the game, it's like the jumping momentum. It's awkward. That's why I died at the very first stage. Like the first 10 seconds I died because I wasn't used to that momentum when you jump.
That's understandable. You know, every platformer has its different way of handling jumping.
Yeah, like usually when a game doesn't leave Japan, it means it's good.
Sadly, that does seem to be true, yeah. There are enough Japanese-only MT entries we've had in the past to
look at the Goemon games, for example. Look at Goemon, the Goemon series. The series is pretty good, and we got like what 2-3 games in total in the West when there is like 30 plus games.
Yeah.
The good thing is most of them are translated now, so yeah.
That is true. It's nice aspect of living in the modern world. Lots of fan translations. But, so how's it feel to win your first match?
It's been a while since I joined one of these MT tournaments. The last time I joined it was MT5, if I remember, or MT6.
Well, that wasn't in your card, Maurice.
Like, I mean, the first match is always the scariest. Like, you're not prepared, and
That's definitely understandable. We actually thought this was your first time in MT.
I think it's my second time.
Yeah, it was definitely a good showing, and you will be moving on. I should probably have the challenge on if I'm going to say who you're going to be moving on to.
I think I already know my opponent if you look at the challenge, because it started in round 2, I believe.
Desdar, unfortunately, having a lot of problems with these turtle shells.
Turtle shells?
That's what I assume they are. I don't know what else they could be.
I don't know. Just things. Object.
Yes, Arius. Looks like you're moving on to fight Marshmaster in Windows 2.
Gonna be fun.
Indeed. Hey, if you put up as good a showing as you did for this game, who knows how far you go.
I don't know, I thought I did pretty bad, I don't know. There was lots of death. I was like, this doesn't look very good. And then on the cart, when I lost like 5 minutes, I was like, yeah.
See, it can hurt, but even still, you were a good world ahead of Desdar the whole time. And as I said, you kept up a very good pace. You were sort of constantly making progress aside from that, probably the Pharaoh boss and the minecart at the end.
The Pharaoh, I don't know if it mattered when I destroyed the little thing at the bottom. I don't know what it was.
That's,
apparently that just...
It spawns
that
bats.
Yes, it just spawned the little bugs flying around.
No. Oh, it was part of the boss, but no.
Though we did appreciate the swag strat of knocking its laser back into it. That was given applause.
I tried the first time and I realized I did that too late since I got rid. I was like, does that not work? But I tried again, it was fine.
Yeah, it was sweet. That is a fact. You can walk away, no matter what happened, you get to be the one who figured out you could knock the laser back.
I mean, it did show on the tutorial when you keep the menu open at the beginning.
Fair enough. I don't think Desdar did it at all, though. So, you know, take that as you will. But yeah, it was nicely played, and look forward to seeing your future matches and how far you may end up going.
I will be at the top. I remember doing like blind races with the boys like 6-7 years ago, like Captain Drake and stuff like that. Good old days, huh?
Yeah.
Good old days.
Honestly, it's before my time. I came in with the big influx with MT10.
I don't remember if MT was a thing when I did blind races with them. I don't remember. It was a long time. It was like 2014, 15. getting old very fast.
Don't tell me. I've already had that. To quote the Owl House, 20 years old. I remember seeing this in theaters. Also, yes, I know in the Owl House it's 30. I'm not 30 yet.
I'm very glad that we are not using EPS6E for PS1 games. I'm very glad. That emulator is awful.
Oh yeah, oh god, early
I
emulators
despise
are-
EPS6E so much, it's insane. Whew. It's not good.
Next, we'll just start doing races in Z-SNES. What could go wrong?
Probably the same as EPS6E, I guess. I don't know.
That's a dot done from Yuggy. I'm gonna go with Yug.
GG.
Because yeah, there were quite a few. Which I guess yeah, you did beat every other entrant in this race, of which there were 6. You came in first.
I guess it's because it's 4 AM for them.
Well, you never know. My guess was that we've attracted all the EU empty entrants as like, ooh, here's a race that's actually in a good time for me. I know that's why I'm here.
It's 10 AM. What can go wrong? 10 AM, it's pretty good.
That's basically when I do all my races. And not to speak too highly, but it's worked out for me. But Desdar making it into the slime temple with Big Slime Man. And it's killed Big Slime Man. Rest in peace. Also, Bright Shadow, you've reminded me that I want to dye my hair. I really need to make a point to do that at some point.
What about going bald?
I'm probably gonna do that by the time I hit 45 anyway. Listen, I'm enjoying my long hair while I got it. Eventually it'll go, and you know what? I'm gonna just be a beanie man at that point. That's just how I'm gonna roll.
Well, technically, it's also a dye since the hair goes invisible. Is that a color? I don't know.
I feel like it's more a lack of color and anything at all. Also, you know what? Seeing all these slime enemies reminds me. Did you notice how gruesome all the death animations were in this game?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I saw it when I got hit by when I died to the spike.
Oh yeah.
And when
you just
the
get
little
impaled.
slime ate me, I think, if I remember. Yeah.
And you just see him struggling and then melt down into nothing. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know, I think in the temple with the things, I think the soundtrack remind me to what was the name? Waxworks, I believe. The point and click dungeon crawler with gruesome death. I think it was Waxworks. Forgot the name.
I couldn't say.
Remind me of what a little bit.
Desdar making it to the minecart section and immediately falling off. Ooh, well, at least the minecart got blown up. It's slightly less gruesome.
Yeah, I saw the little foot, I was like, I'm not jumping. I don't know how the momentum is on that. I'm not jumping.
It's like bombs! Desdar not thinking to jump up, unfortunately. Sadly, the extra hit doesn't really help you in this minecart section.
Unfortunately not.
A lot of insta-kill. Like we're playing Guilty Gear. I thought this was Street Fighter.
I don't know if the input are the same. When you do like the little fire or Hadouken.
Well, a lot of fighting... There's sort of some shared inputs among most fighting games. Like, generally, a quarter circle forward attack is some kind of ranged.
Actually, thought I would die when I saw that little HP not going down. I was like, I'm so gonna die. I'm so dead. Because I'm very bad at fighting games. I'm more of a puzzle person, like Puyo Puyo. Like fighting games, it's not my stuff.
That's fair. I only got into fighting games recently myself. Actually, funnily enough, right after I won MT. I don't know, it's an interesting genre, and I think, honestly, it has a lot of problems, but I've been having fun with Guilty Gear Strive.
I'm very bad at fighting games. Nah. Very bad at them.
Definitely not a genre for everyone. Though it is fun to beat up Roar. Also, Bright Shadow, dye your hair anime colors because you'll see it. And that's the most important person. Oh, Desdar keeps trying to jump early there.
I always try to jump as late as possible to see like which one will disappear or not.
Ooh, getting the blueberries.
You gotta get those big points.
Yeah.
I did not do that. I was like, no. I thought at the beginning this was the boss because I tried to like give him back the bomb, but that didn't work. I thought this was the little boss fight, but.
Hey, Desdar making progress.
But got 0 lives for the second part.
Yeah, unfortunately.
When I realized that remove your checkpoint when I was at 0, I kinda did suicide to get back my 2 lives.
A valid strategy. Sometimes you gotta do the suicide strats.
Because I don't know if you game over at the boss, if you restart at the boss, or if you have to redo this part again.
I doubt it. Ah.
Oh, not quite sticking the landing.
No.
Ah,
Oh, slightly too far.
it was just before the checkpoint.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the same thing again. Just not quite finding that momentum.
You don't have enough room since the cart is kinda small.
Oh, also so close. Oh my god.
By the way, in the menu it did say like attacked you. And I still like I never press that input, so I don't know what is attacked you.
Oh, where are you jumping? Oh, jump up! Oh no! Oh, actually jumped at the end.
Rickery also with the dot done, just finishing up the goal now.
GG.
That could have barely been closer. Jump! Oh, that was close. Jump! Ah! Wow, that's kind of rude. Like, the card isn't even exploded yet, but you can't make the jump anymore because you're below. Oh, but there's another checkpoint. Extra. Gotta go up? What? You knew about that one.
That's unfortunate.
Alright, don't jump to the next card before it lands. Makes it harder for no reason. Oh, never mind. What? I'm an idiot. Another continue. Another restart of the whole section.
Yeah. Goodbye checkpoint.
It is a hell of a minecart level, though it is a painful one. Definitely on par with the more difficult of the Donkey Kong Country Return stuff. Also, this MIDI guitar is going nuts, and I'm kind of all about it. Desdar jumped early and, like, went back on it, and I felt my heart stop. Oh, Desdar, don't do that to me, please. Oh, hitting the back of the minecart. Come on, Desdar, you're so close. You can taste it. Here it comes. Oh no, if you wait too long, you can't make the jump. Oh, that hurts. Oh, I think that's it. On the last life, Desdar makes it into the loading tunnel. And on to 4-3 and the final part of this goal. The best part of this goal.
Yeah, the boss was very fun.
I have the power. Alright, wake up super. No, okay. Alright, quickly, do a cross up. Mix-ups! Mix-ups, Desdar!
He does way more damage, but what you do to him?
Ain't that just the way with fighting games against the CPU?
Indeed. At least this one doesn't read your input like frame ones. It's not SNES Mortal Kombat or stuff like that.
There are more bosses, so I wouldn't speak too soon. Quick, just spam Hadoukens.
Maybe we'll know what happened if you game over there. Do you restart the cart or do you start real? No?
Let's find out.
Hmm?
The sensible thing would be just starting from there, because that's a new stage.
Kinda makes sense, because on every of our bosses you restart on the boss. Normally,
oh, that's a lot of loading. That's a lot of loading.
It could just be because it's a fighting game.
Oh no, yeah, it is fighting game. Okay, good.
Okay, slash, heavy slash, quarter circle, forward kick. Then semicircle backwards, then forward, slash to do the super. Double quarter circle forward, heavy slash, light slash. Even one just with the finish just now. Oh no, the command grab! Oh, Chad, he's got the rush down. Desdar! Yes! There it is! Desdar with the 1-1-1-1-1!
GG!
And you couldn't ask for a better time. Aside from the victory.
But what is after the one?
1-1-1-1-1.
What is after the one? Is it still one or?
It's .111111 repeating. And then Ralph said, "I don't feel like it," and went home. The end.
Alright. That was a cool game. I liked the minecart section. I liked how it's suddenly a completely different game.
It's a perfect MT entry.
Yeah, even after playing the game, you're still surprised when the final boss is a completely different game.
Mm-hmm. And one that we can't normally get in MT. Fighting games aren't normally a thing for us.
Good.
Yeah, I can't disagree. They're a game that rewards practice, and that's actually something MT tends to avoid.
Alright then. Congrats on your win, Arius. That's how you pronounce your name. Arius?
Yeah, it's Arius.
Alright. And good luck in your next round.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at the next matches. Nothing coming up for a few hours, but in 3.5 hours... Oh, this is the loser's bracket. Oh, this is the first person going out.
Ooh.
Kira or Beast one. Or
already
Beast one. To find out.
Oh, y'all better enjoy that one. I know I won't be able to. I will be asleep.
Yeah, I'll be here. So follow the channel. You'll see when we go live. Gonna catch the first loser's bracket match of the tournament. And yeah. We'll see you then.